This time from the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Series 2, we're going to be taking a look at The Thing, of course. Now, The Thing first appeared back in Fantastic Four #1 in 1961. However, he's had quite a few other series, starting with, well, sort of a team-up with the Human Torch in the pages of Strange Tales, sharing that title. And he started off in Strange Tales number 124 and went to 135. Then he starred in his own team-up book called Marvel 2-in-1, and the first issue of that was in 1973. And that lasted 100 issues. A very, very good run. And that gave way to his own series in 1983, which ran for 36 issues. And finally, in 2006, he had an 8-issue series that was canceled before his time, written very well by Dan Slott. So taking a look at the back of the package here, you can see the general write-up of Legends and his specific write-up, as well as the other figures in this wave, a very Fantastic Four-based wave. I love the sculpt of this figure, and it really captures the, in my opinion, sort of like the John Byrne Thing. The expressive face, and the crags in his rocky hide. All these are actually, they're not painted in, but sculpted. And so that's really, really cool. The paint on this guy is nice too. It's a very orangey paint. And I mean, it makes sense for him, but it still is not too over the top, and it still looks pretty earthy and real world-ish, if you will. They do use a wash here to darken it up, and in some places I think it's too much, but overall it's pretty good. Now for his accessories, way back then, they all came with a base, and his base is this wall. Of course, having the Yancey Street gang tag there, so you could have him get angry and have him knock down the wall there. Yeah, so the wall would break apart, and you can have him stand on the rubble there, satisfied. There are several pegs here for you to put him on, but his feet are really too big enough that only really one of them works. Now, getting into the articulation of the figure, start with the head here. Goes side to side, up and down, very nice. The arms go all the way around, out to the side. They have the extra shoulder joints, which unfortunately from the back, you can see all the way in there, and how they carry off the extra joint there. And it does leave him a bit hollow in the chest area. He's got a single joint at the elbow. His wrists turn. And a neat feature that they did with both the Thing and the Hulk is, for the first run of each of the figures, they had bendy fingers. The soft plastic here that covers the rings you can see some stress marks on them, so I wouldn't recommend them bending too much. That is nice. He's got the mid-torso joint that moves forward and back, side to side, as well as does turn left and right a little bit. But he's also got waist articulation. At the hips, he just moves forward and back there. There's no side-to-side action. He does rotate at the upper thighs. He has a single joint at the knees, and he's got ankle moves up and down, and has a great ankle pivot there, and his toes flex together. So getting into the history of Ben Grimm, the Thing. Ben Grimm was born in the Lower East Side in New York City and grew up on the fictional street called the Yancey Street. And he was of Jewish descent, a fact that was not played up until just recently. His older brother, Daniel, was killed in a fight between two street gangs. Ben was only 8 years old at the time. The Thing is very semi-autobiographical of Jack Kirby himself. And Kirby and Lee started that, and other writers have picked it up and ran with it. Kirby did grow up on the Lower East Side of New York City from a Jewish family, and the name of the street that he grew up on was Delancey Street, not Yancey Street, and he lost an older brother when he was young. Now, I don't think it was exactly in a gang fight, but his overall personality of having a rough, gruff exterior, but a very I would say personable and caring. Something below that gruff was also put into the character of Ben Grimm, the Thing. Getting back to Ben Grimm, after he lost his brother, his parents died, and he went to live with his uncle, and his uncle married a much younger woman, and that's the famous, if you've probably read any Fantastic Four, you've heard him speak of his Aunt Petunia, and that's his Aunt Petunia. So much closer to age to him than you would think. That was a great John Byrne story. Ben excelled at sports, and he earned a football scholarship to State University, and that's where he meets a teenage Reed Richards and Victor Von Doom. Of course, Reed describes his rocket ship, spaceship idea to Ben, and Ben jokingly says, "Oh yeah, you build it and I'll fly it." And little did he know how true that would be. He finishes off school as an engineer, and Ben goes into the Marine Corps as an aviator. And in his original origin, which has been updated to reflect the more recent times, but in his original origin, he served in World War II, and then he becomes part of the astronaut program, where he hooks up with Reed again. And we all know the story that the government is about to cancel the flight of Reed's rocket, so He steals it with both Sue Storm and Johnny Storm, and they're exposed to the cosmic rays, which Ben was worried about the shielding, but Reed assured him that it would be adequate enough, and of course it wasn't. Get hit by the cosmic rays, and they crash, and when they come out of the crash, they find that they have all these superpowers. Now, Ben doesn't really turn into the rocky thing that you see before him. He's more of a lumpy, kind of clay-like creature. Still super strong and tough, but much more undefined, and there's no real crags and stuff. Out of all the Fantastic Four, Reed carries the most guilt about Ben because he is the one member who is unable to transform back into a human form, which was picked up on in the movie because one of the few things I like about the Fantastic Four movie is that it explained why he, out of all of them, couldn't transform back into like a human form like the other ones could. He was exposed the most. They start up the Fantastic Four to become heroes instead of looked upon as freaks. He can't escape that feeling that he's a monster, and he continuously deals with that throughout the comics. He does have a turning point when he meets the blind sculptress Alicia Masters, and they have a relationship. During the Secret Wars, he finds that he can control his transformation on the planet Battleworld, created by the Beyonder. So he decides to remain behind, and the She-Hulk takes his place in the Fantastic Four. Now he stays there for a while, but he returns and he finds out that Johnny and Alicia have started a relationship, and that really kind of bugs him, and he goes off on his own for a while. Actually, becomes part of what is called the Unlimited Class Wrestling. It's sort of like superhero wrestling in the Marvel Universe. It actually becomes a member of the West Coast Avengers. But he does return to the Fantastic Four. In fact, he leads the FF when Sue and Reed try to retire and raise Franklin in a non-superhero-esque surroundings. The two members he gets to replace Reed and Sue are Crystal and Sharon Ventura, also known as the second Miss Marvel. And they actually start a relationship together. Unfortunately, they get hit with cosmic rays, and they're both altered. The Miss Marvel mutates into a form more like the original Thing, how he looked at first. The Thing mutates into this even more rocky and bizarre. He's got like spikes coming out of him. Here's a picture of him. They do continue their relationship. He does get cured and reverts back to human for a while using a Thing battle suit. It's a robotic battle suit that actually looks like the classic Thing. But he decides to return to the actual Thing form for the love of Sharon, to help her deal with her transformation into She-Thing. Not soon after, he finds out that the Alicia that Johnny sort of dated and eventually married was actually a Skrull in disguise, and they go off and find the real Alicia, and they kind of resume their relationship at that point. During the Mark Waid run, he sacrifices himself for the whole team. Actually, goes and helps him come back to life. During the Civil War, he's disgusted with both sides, and he runs off to France, but returns pretty soon before the conclusion. That really wasn't. I didn't really like that because I think it was kind of out of character. He becomes an overnight millionaire when Reed does something with the finances of the Fantastic Four and basically releases the purse strings to Ben himself. And that's part of the new series that was written by Dan Slott. A very fun series, very short-lived series. He's joined Luke Cage's New Avengers after the Siege, so he splits his time between the Fantastic Four and New Avengers. Of course, right now he's dealing with the death of the Torch and the formation of the new FF, the Future Foundation. Oh yeah, I should mention that Ben is sort of the connected guy in the Marvel Universe. He knows everybody. I mean, he knows the Magic guys, he knows the X-Men, he knows all the Avengers, and he's friends with pretty much everybody. It's pretty hard to get on the bad side of Ben Grimm. And a lot of that is through these poker games that he arranges that superheroes, they make good spots in comic books for a bunch of superheroes to sit down and just, have a little bit of downtime. Anyway, so I guess that's gone on long enough, and I guess that'll about do it for the thing. And until my next video, I'll see you.